All right, welcome back, everybody. We are going to jump into the nutrition portion of our summer shred challenge, and hopefully you got some good information out of the last video. And so now that you have your goal set up, you got your habits in mind, maybe order some supplements. Let's go ahead and dive into the nutrition plan and how you're going to navigate this throughout the shred. Okay, so first things first, I want to talk about how fat loss actually works and being able to maintain muscle, because there's so much information about this that I really dive into my full course curriculum that I'm going to be coming out with in the next month or so. I dive into a lot of different principles, and again, over the last 10 years, I've just spent a lot of time obviously working with probably thousands of people at this point, whether it's been personally or who have come through the gym. And I'm super obsessed with just like reading and trying different things. And so in the full curriculum, I really kind of dive into all these fundamentals and principles and make them very simple. But one of the ones I talk about is what I call the gap principle. And it really just says that when it comes to weight loss or even muscle gain, but I really want to focus more on the weight loss aspect and fat loss, it's really just a matter of how much energy are we taking in daily and how much energy are we burning daily. And that gap is what determines, are we going to be losing weight or gaining weight? And weight can be gaining fat or muscle, or it can be losing fat or muscle. And so there's different things that determine that, but in general, the gap principle is just how much energy are we getting burning each day and how much energy are we consuming or taking in each day. That will determine what direction we're going. So another way to say this is calories in, calories out. Although a couple things different with the principles, but in general, what we really want to focus on for losing weight is, again, we want to make the gap between how much we're taking in each day smaller than how much that we're actually consuming or how much we're burning. So we want to burn more than what we're consuming every single day when it comes to losing weight. And so obviously to do that, we can make that gap bigger by either working out more, we could eat less, and a couple other things that we don't really need to go into right now. But we're going to really get into the nutrition portion and how we're going to make sure that we eat less than what we're burning, but that way we're eating the right types of things. That way you're satiated, you enjoy it to some extent, but you're also getting the results that you're looking for and maintaining muscle mass. So the other thing is too, in general, there's one aspect that I'll probably get into maybe in a different video, maybe like a bonus one for this summer shred, but we want to make sure that you are spending 80% of the foods that we're consuming are foods that are going to be more on the cleaner side, or if you're doing the clean eating list, following the clean list, and 20% really being a little bit more flexible, maybe things you enjoy, or maybe it's a cheat meal once a week or a free meal. But again, we'll dive more into that at a later video. For now, let's go ahead and figure out what approach that you're going to choose for the summer shred. So we have two. You can follow a clean eating list, or number two is you can do macro counting or tracking and calorie counting. And whatever one you choose is totally fine. I'll tell you right now, I always am a big fan of doing the tracking portion and actually counting your calories and macros, because it's way more measurable. It's going to build a lot more skills, and you could always transition to a clean eating down the road, whereas when you do clean eating, you can't really transition to macro tracking with the skills that you're getting from clean eating. You can to some extent, but with macro tracking, you can still do clean eating. So, it kind of encompasses both. So let's say you want to choose clean eating. So let's go ahead and talk about the clean eating portion really quick. So clean eating is really going to be, for the purposes of this summer shred, is going to be following a clean eating list. So I'm going to provide multiple lists with clean eating challenge food lists, and you're going to select the serving size and the meal plan that is congruent with how much that you weigh. So the different lists will be divided up by and given to you based off of whatever weight that you are. So if you're a 200-pound guy, you're going to be eating a different list than somebody who is a 150-pound guy, right? And so I'll link which ones you'll choose in the resource page and where those plans will be linked. So you're going to have a list. On that list is going to give you a bunch of different foods that you can eat and choose to make meals, similar to like our challenge list in the past or what we've been doing. And there's also recipes that will be included as well. And so let's kind of get into how you'll actually use that list though, because I think this is an important piece. So you're going to start with your baseline of meals and servings a day. Okay, so let's say for me, I follow the 2.75 meal plan, which basically gives me like, I think 8-ounce servings of proteins, and it gives me like a cup and a half of like my carbs for my servings. So in general, everybody, no matter what plan you're on, you're going to start with 4 to 5 servings of protein a day. So let's say my serving sizes on my protein list has like 8 ounces of chicken. So I'm going to be able to do 4 to 5 servings off of anything in that protein column a day. Okay. So if you tend to eat a little bit lower on the side, like smaller meals or whatever, you just tend to be a person who doesn't eat a lot during the day, you can do the 4 servings of protein. And if you have a hungry day, you can just do 5. If you're somebody who always likes bigger, you eat a lot more food during the day, then just do 5 servings of protein. Either one is totally fine. I definitely would not go below 4 and never below 3. If you just have a crazy day, you can only have 3, that's fine. Then you're going to have 5 more servings that you can divvy up between your carbs and your fats. So you can either have 4 servings of fat and 1 carb a day, or you can have 3 and 2, 2 and 3, whatever you want. You just want to equal 5 a day. So that means you're going to get 9 to 10 servings total a day, split up between your protein, carbs, and fats. So what's cool about this is you can kind of choose what you want. If you tend to be more of a fats person, that's fine. If you tend to be more of a carb person, that's totally fine. But the key thing is you want to stick to that amount. Now, that's where you're starting. Now the question is, what do I do if I plateau? Totally great question. So if you plateau, a couple things I would think about. Number 1, are you truly sticking to the servings that you're given? Are you really sticking to the foods on the food list? Because if you're being honest with yourself and you're actually eating a bunch of freaking candy at night, or you're slipping bites here and there throughout the day of your kids' stuff and your coworkers, whatever, or you're not tracking that sugary Starbucks drink you're getting, then start by getting rid of that stuff. Get rid of that stuff. Then if you're truly following the food list and you're hitting those servings, if you plateau, you're going to start by cutting 1 serving out, and you can cut it from either your carbs or your fats. Never cut from your protein on this approach. You're always going to keep 4 to 5 servings of protein a day, no matter what, even when you get to the very end of your cut. All right, so protein always stays the same because that's going to make sure that you're not losing your lean muscle mass. It's going to keep that muscle repair and everything you need for that going, okay, especially if you're taking the supplements with it. All right, so after 72 hours, if your plateau isn't broken yet and you're truly are following the plan and you cut that serving, you've been doing that consistently, if after 48 to 72 hours you're not seeing that scale come down, which again, this is another reason why tracking your weight every day is good, because you can actually see it, real-time data. Whereas if you only do it once a week, it's hard to make adjustments quickly. So if after 48 to 72 hours you still don't see progress, you can go ahead and cut another serving, okay? By this point, if you cut 2 servings, you should be seeing the scale move again. If not, then I would say there's something that we're not seeing, there's something missing, and I would try to figure that out, or I would go ahead and add more activity in, maybe another 30-minute cardio session, strength day, you could do that. Honestly, I would never go more than like 3 strength days a week, maybe 4. But hitting like another boot camp or cardio session is totally fine, or more steps a day. So that's what you're going to do with the clean eating approach. All right, if you have any questions about that, let me know. But you'll just follow that plateau until you get to the end of the summer shred or your cut. All right. All right, macro tracking. What do we do for this? So honestly, macro tracking is a huge game changer for me. In this video, it's too much information to just talk about all the stuff that I like about it. But let's go ahead and get into how you're going to do it. So I'm going to put in the resource page the exact step-by-step process you can do to set up your calorie and protein goals going forward. And for this challenge, if you need help, you can obviously ask us and we'll set them up for you and help you, or hop on one of the daily live calls that I'll be doing. And so if you're somebody who is more advanced, you can do a full macro tracking system. If you're somebody who's just kind of starting out or you don't really like it or whatever, then you can start by just doing a calorie and a protein goal. And again, in the resource page, it'll show you exactly how to do that and what that looks like. But a calorie and protein goal honestly is very effective because the carbs and the fats don't matter as much as long as you're getting enough of each one in, depending on your goals. So that's going to be your main thing that you're doing for your calorie and macros. Now with your plateaus, with your macro tracking, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and cut your calories by 10% when you hit a plateau. So say you're doing 2,000 calories. If you hit a plateau, and again, same thing, if you're not eating clean foods or you feel like you're not really tracking properly, then focus on tidying those things up first. And if you feel like you're pretty locked in, you're actually tracking diligently, you're accurate with your tracking, you're eating fairly clean foods, blah, 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 then you're going to take 10% of your overall calories that you started with, which is going to be, if you have 2,000 calories a day, would be 200. You're going to cut by 200 calories, same thing, 48 to 72 hours. If the scale starts moving, great, burn through that until you hit a plateau again. If it's still not moving, you can either cut by another 10 or 5 to 10%. All right, so it'd be either another 100 to 200 calories. Your cut number always stays the same. So I call it your cut number, which is going to be 10% of whatever your maintenance calories is. So you always start with your maintenance calories, and then your cut number is 10% of that. All right, so it's always going to be around, 200 for somebody who has a 2,000 calorie starting number. All right. And it's the same thing. So, you cut by 10% by your cut number, wait 40 to 72 hours. If you don't see the progress, then you cut by another 5 to 10%. And then you start seeing the progress, you hit a plateau, rinse and repeat until you get to the end. So the only difference is with the calorie and protein or calorie tracking is that for your protein I typically never cut it once I set it, especially for my cut, but the main thing is you never want to go below 0.8 grams per pound of lean body mass for your protein. And for your fats, you never want to go below 0.4 grams per pound of body weight, okay? So, and if you're a bigger person, for those things, you could always do ideal weight, okay, as well. So that's also, so if you're like 350 pounds, then maybe go off of your ideal weight. So if you want to be 200 pounds and go 0.4 times 200 or whatever. And the reason is for fat, it's a necessity for hormone use and optimization, brain function. There's so many other things that are like fats are a necessity for. So you can't just like carbs, you can go like a zero carb or a super low carb approach. Fats, you never want to go below a certain point. Otherwise, you're going to just completely stunt any progress that you're making